with me, the Broken Bottle Boy, here on Twitter, on Twitch, and also YouTube, if you are watching this back. Today's show is, Season 4, Episode 35, The Pass-agg Follow. Today we've got 4 papers on the show: The Sun, The Times, The Daily Mail, and The Telegraph. We're going to start with The Sun, move on to The Telegraph next, because it's one of the most annoying ones to do, and then we will be finishing the last 2. All right. What am I doing? Oh yes, I need to say that the show is live. The paper thing. I'm sorry, this is incredibly boring viewing, but I'm nearly done, and then we will be getting started with The Sun. If you're watching on YouTube, just skip forward, I'd say about a minute or so. Bang, bang, bong. Copy link. Hey Mark, how you doing? Yeah, it does a bit, doesn't it? It's just me just sort of quietly talking to myself. It does come over kind of voyeuristic. Right, I'm gonna just stream happening at here. The stream is live from Norwich. It's the paper thing. Okay, right, we're gonna start with The Sun. My hair is really annoying me today. I've got to get my hair cut again. It was better when it was big and when it was like massively floppy. It was so much better. Look at this fucking Clark Kent cowlick shit going on. Right, there we go. All right, so front page of The Sun is giving us a kind of Frost Nixon, except with idiots. So it's Corden Mourinho. James Corden has interviewed Jose Mourinho. Hey, Slingermeyer, how you doing? Thank you for subscribing again. That is much appreciated. Elsewhere on the front page, the grim news that Wayne Couzens has accepted responsibility for the killing of Sarah Everard. Of course, The Sun gives it a classically Sun headline: Met cop admits Sarah's kidnap, and we get on the front of on the picture caption for her, the Sun and the general tabloid thing that they do of saying tragic. The person in the room has emerged from outside. Yeah?
That's your weather report for the day.
Thank you for that. On page 3, that isn't page 3, but is page 3, we've got a picture of Lily James dressed as Pamela Anderson. And The Sun gives it the headline, Lily's doing swell as Pam. Okay, Slinker, really good to hear you've had your second jab. Good, very pleased to hear that. On page 3, woke poshos toff with their heads. Oxford students ditch colonial queen pic. If you want to know more about this absolutely pathetic coverage of some students taking down a picture that some other students put up years ago, not even that many years ago, 7 years ago, go to the newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. The water is so loud. Brokenbottleboy.substack.com for the newsletter, which is all about this completely confected culture war brouhaha around students at Magdalen College deciding to take down a picture of the Queen that was only put up in 2013. It will not surprise you that Piers Morgan's had shit opinions about it. Yes, Red Tick I've truly enjoyed the The Sun with Huck aesthetics image. That was a brilliant piece of work. On pages 4 and 5, James Corden interviews Mourinho. Corden says, Jose, how should Southgate approach penalties? Mourinho says, trust his feelings. The mental wall's been broken. Jose Mourinho increasingly becoming like a Portuguese Yoda. Right, further into the paper, Little Mix Gems track down Leanne, buys back her stolen ring. On page 9, Met Cop, I kidnapped and raped Sarah is the headline that the Sun goes with, and I am responsible for her killing. Truly gross, horrible news, but at least her family has been spared the ordeal of having to have him try and plead not guilty. Hey, Farage's face there with classic penalty advice, which is to kick it in the net. Britney Spears has been pictured wearing a snakeskin dress. That's worthy of a story from the Sun, of course. Jane Moore is awful. They've taken an excuse of Gwyneth Paltrow doing that advert where she is topless in order to print a double-page spread of other times that celebrities have got naked in adverts. On page 17, decuplets are world record. A mother has had 10 is set to give birth to 10 babies, 7 boys and 3 girls. What is really disturbing about this is the way that this is a woman of colour, and the way the Sun calls it her brood, which is odd. And then they say she produced 10 children. The babies were delivered by cesarean section at 29 weeks. What's that, love?
She just produced them on her own.
I know, imagine that, isn't it? On page 19, Kylie Minogue is pictured wearing a fake fur coat. On page 21, an architect's home is in ruins after a builder demolished his work in a row over money. On pages 22 and 23, 5 years after MP was murdered, sister is Labour hopeful. Joe would want me to crack on and embrace life. I try to do just that, says Kim Ledbetter, talking to The Sun. Labour MPs should not talk to The Sun, neither should prospective Labour MPs. On page 25, they slag off Meghan Markle's, Meghan Mountbatten Windsor, I don't know, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex book. Lexi Hope, a 7-year-old asked to review it, thought it was a bit boring. And Natasha R. Harding, the Sun's book columnist, slags it off. Expect more of this. Mark Kenosis, it keeps the industrial nature of reproduction under capitalism crystal clear. Sorry, we'll watch some Zizek in Yuan's stream. Well, you know, yeah. I can only watch Zizek in small bursts because of the weird slurping voice he does. There is a picture of a lion up a tree, which they keeping out of the way of some stampeding buffalo. Seems smart to me. The headline they go with is "What a Scaredy Cat." On the front page of the Euro 2020 goals supplement, EU can't keep up. Welsh fast show. Gareth Bale and co plan to turn the heat up on Switzerland with an attack that has pace to burn. More fucking pathetic Britpop Euro 96 nostalgia.
I just hurt my ankle. I bite it off the
Oh, okay. More Euro 96 Britpop nostalgia from Alex James. Jesus Christ. The by far the worst member of Blur by a healthy margin. In tonight's TV review, Panorama, The Unfair Games, as Tokyo Games loom, ex-wheelchair racer Richie Powell asked if the current classification system in the Paralympics is seriously flawed. Salvage Hunters design classics, antiques expert Drew Pritchard eyes unique designs from history. Prodigal Son, Sky 1, 9 p.m. Malcolm tackles the bizarre, brutal murder of a wealthy widow who was decapitated by a guillotine. And in the footsteps of killers, Channel 4, Amelia Fox and Professor David Wilson look into cold cases. Yes, Alex James, the cheese Tory indeed, Slinkermeyer. Moving on, in Fab Daily, this couple had to cull their guests from 150 to 20, with bridesmaids, close friends, and grandparents being cut. I uninvited my nan to our wedding.
What the fuck? I invited my nan and left her nan's a bitch.
Yeah, and also, why would you put it in the? Why would you write about it in the Sun? how saucy parties went from living rooms to Zoom. This is about Ann Summers parties. The £50 letter today comes from John Roberts, who writes, I agree with Boris Johnson and the Culture Secretary Oliver Dowden that the suspension of cricketer Ollie Robinson was way over the top. Oh, God, who cares? In the short letters, June writes, give voters a ballot on how much foreign aid they want to give. After all, it's taxpayers' cash that's given away. That way, all MPs will be left in no doubt as to the wishes of their voters. Like, either you have a representative democracy or you have direct democracy. The mixing the both doesn't work well. Priti Patel gets written about by Rob from Bracknell, who says, Priti Patel is fudging the issue on migrants, blaming everyone but herself. She must know the only way to deal with the problem is to turn all migrants round as soon as they arrive in the UK. Rob, there's such a thing as international law, which we did not fucking leave when we left the EU, nor should we, you fucking idiot. And finally, Sheila from Ripley says, let's hope the royal family and Thomas Markle get to see little Lilibet Diana. Stop writing about a baby that you know that is nothing to do with you. You weirdos. They're trying to sell you super half-price, super fragrant Star Jasmine. Various mattresses. And in the sport, live and let die. Phil Foden has thanked Gareth Southgate for his shot at redemption after being sent home in disgrace from England last autumn. He's dyed his hair blonde, which people are saying is because he wants to be like Gaza. No, I do not want to be famous. Big follows indeed. Yes, the letters are extra racist today. They've really dialed up the racism on those today. Okay, so that was today's Sun. For me, it's a minus quadruple negative. It's a quadruple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69. We move on now to the Telegraph. Now, I'm going to try to speed run the Telegraph. We knew previously that this didn't go well because the pages are too big, but let's give it another go. Give me a number. How fast do you reckon I can get through the Telegraph person in the room?
4 minutes.
4 minutes, okay. We're going for a 4-minute speed run through the Telegraph. So here we go. Hey Google, set timer for 4 minutes.
Okay, 4 minutes. Starting now.
Right, firstly, I need to actually get the image of the Telegraph up on the screen. That would do, wouldn't it? Yu-Gi-Oh! Thinks I'll do it in 4 minutes 20. Okay, right. So, front page of the Telegraph. Lady Norse discussing allegations that put me through hell. Further down, on the features, the column trailing the features, we've got summer-ready stylish buys to get you through the season. Rocket Man Bezos. Clash of the Egos as space race hots up. Wipeout. Do you need a social media cleanse? Probably if you read the Telegraph. And Man-to-Man, the Dylan Thomas we knew. On the right-hand side of the page, the main story, a Toad Man, it's Andrew Lloyd Webber, says he might close all his, have to sell all his theatres, and he's willing to face arrest to keep them open, even if the June 21 unlocking is delayed. Halogen light bulbs are to be banned from September. Of course, the Telegraph's going mental about that. Nothing must ever change. They put the story about the stupid portrait Queen thing at the bottom of the page. The Queen cancelled by Oxford College. Lord Frost is continuing his sausage war with Brussels. Brentford say they're not going to take the knee when they start playing in the Premier League in the forthcoming season. Naomi Greenway says a warped debate on Israel is fueling hatred, and there's going to be an inquiry into why websites went down yesterday. We know why they went down. It was to do with the problem at Fastly. Inside the paper, on page 3, the Telegraph unsurprisingly gives Meghan, Duchess of Sussex's book a 1-star review. Charles and Harry are in regular contact, apparently, since the birth of Lilibet. There's a picture of Prince Charles being unable to put a mask on properly, and doesn't surprise me. On page 5, 6 million in hotspots are told to reduce travel. On page 7, comedian cites bias over white, able-bodied straight males. This is Nick Dixon, 38, who's toured the UK and US and was a writer on Disney's Aladdin, but claims he doesn't get booked sometimes because he's a white guy. Nick, but still.
Dixon, right?
Yeah, Dixon. Yeah, okay, yeah. English Heritage Art Project paints servant as master to celebrate Black history. This seems like a cool project to me, but of course the Telegraph doesn't think so. The person who wrote this story is also the person who wrote their story about the Queen and the portrait at Oxford. Met officer pleads guilty to kidnapper Sarah Everard is how they cover that. They put it on page 9. Bizarre to put it so late in the book. There's a picture of Carrie Simons walking. Who gives a fuck? Almost a full page on that house wrecked by a builder over the unpaid bill. End of an era for pub rock stars as Pink Floyd pub goes to the wall. The pub made famous for introducing Pink Floyd band members Syd Barrett and David Gilmour is to close by developers despite a public backlash. The Flying Pig in Cambridge, previously known as The Crown, will close its doors in October after developers own the venue cut short the landlord's lease. I mean, it's quite sad. It's always sad when a pub closes. Twin sisters attacked by crocodile were taken on illegal tour, says sibling. That story's still continuing. Farage's face says the comedy guy was on the Spike Comedy Unleashed show, and like everyone on that, started his set complaining that Vice were mean to him. Oh, what a loser. Russia to launch first full stealth warship as soon as next year. Bullshit. Police arrest 800 worldwide in largest sting. This was a bunch of criminals who were tricked into using an app that was created by the FBI. In the comment page is Douglas Murray, an authoritarian Auton face. His face is so photoshopped in his picture that he looks like an evil mannequin. He says Cambridge is a case study on how to save free speech. Fuck off. Madeline Grant says lockdown Britain has surrendered its ancient freedoms far too cheaply. And Naomi Greenaway says, what Israel today is fueling hatred. We must stop an appalling surge in anti-Jewish racism that has turned even our children into targets. Well, Nick Timothy writes for The Telegraph, and he has written anti-Semitic things in the past about Soros, etc. Damn it. Okay, so that's 4 minutes. I reckon get it done in another 30 seconds. The main feature is about Lady Norse, who has just been cleared of various bad charges. Blast off, the billionaire space race is on. Yeah, feature about Bezos. Christina O'Doney says the property boom will turn our children into a generation of losers. I mean, if you're a child of a Telegraph columnist, that may already have befallen you. There's a big feature about what to wear this summer. There's a feature on Dylan Thomas, memories of the day I met Dylan Thomas. In the obituaries, Violetta Elvin, Bolshoi-trained ballerina, Lieutenant Colonel Pollack, Tom Pollack, Dr. Paratroop Commander and crack shot, who served in Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq, and Oman, and Richard Gooding, executive who transformed the fortunes of London City Airport. They're trying to sell you cruises, and in the TV, Coventry Cathedral building for a new Britain is the recommended show. That is the Telegraph. Yeah, I was distracted a few times, but still, 4:30, a new record for the Telegraph, a new PB. Give me your scores for that, and as we move on to the Times. Yeah, I agree with you, Tara writes. Can't imagine taking style tips from the Telegraphs. You'd be worried that they were going to recommend you some of Hugo Boss's classic designs from the 40s, wouldn't you? It's a joke for the heads there. Right, so we move on to... Actually, do you know what? I'm going to do the roll call, and then we'll move on to the Times. Mark Kenosis gives the Telegraph -1 exonerated widow of a High Court judge. Slinkermeyer gives it a classic triple negative nice. Yu-Gi-Oh! Says every app is made by the FBI. In the chat today, I'm the Broken Bottle Boy, of course. You can follow me on Twitter, @BrokenBottleBoy. Also here, Arid Tracks, Bad Motivator, or should I say, valued subscriber Bad Motivator. The silent but deadly Carbot 14XYZ is here. Discord for small streamers has tuned in, as has Discord for streamers. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is here. Thanks for being here. Farage's Face, good to see you. Fast becoming a new regular and much appreciated. Mark Kenosis, of course, the most deranged member of the chat, and all the more loved for it. Peter Bensley, good to see you. Red Tixie, thanks for being here. Slinkermeyer, time I think for another recommendation of excellent photography. Get onto Instagram and Twitter to see that. Studying Fangirl is here. tuning in from Israel. Surplus, good to see you. Teo writes, ever excellent. Yuan, the Fishmeister General, is here. And Zoe brings bacon, last but never least. Right, so let's move on to the Times. Front page of the Times. Thongs, flats, and frocks. More summer dressing advice. They don't mean thongs the pants. I think they mean thongs the shoes. And Oxford College to remove Queen's portrait over colonial links is the inaccurate headline from the Times' Nicola Woolcock, education editor, Ali Mithib, the reporter, and Kaya Burgess, another reporter. 3 reporters required for that story. As I've written next to that headline, this is willfully inaccurate because it was not the college, it was the MCR, which is independent of the college's authority in what it does or doesn't put up on its walls. Main story is ministers under fire for summer holiday muddle. And on the right-hand side, judge rules staff off sick can visit pubs. Once again, as we so frequently see, the Times misreports a story about a employment tribunal. Now, this employee being in a social club rather than a pub was the issue while he was off sick. But the reason that the company ended up being ruled against was that they conducted a biased inquiry and had already basically decided what the disciplinary procedure was going to do. My Chemical Romance. No. Middle common room is just a wanker for post-grad common room. The undergraduate one is called the JCR, the junior common room. On page 3, car Charles gave Diana is yours for a cool £40,000. It is a 40-year-old Ford Escort with a relatively low 83,000 miles on the clock. In good condition, still 40 grand is a bit steep for the model, unless, of course, a princess drove it. And one of the cars that joke redacted for taste reasons. On page 5, there is the winners of the Siena Creative Photo Awards. One is of a chameleon trying to blend in against some mad wallpaper, and the other is one dog peeking in to look at another dog. So those are great pictures. Mark Kenosis says he's definitely seen art of the Queen having sex with Prince Philip, but they were rendered as Shrek and Fiona. So there we go. If you need someone to dwell in the deepest, darkest recesses of the internet, Mark is your man. Elsewhere on page 5, they put the story system. So they've got this picture about this. In the middle, they've got these cute pictures of animals. At the top of the page, they've got surgeon who branded livers can continue operating. A surgeon who branded his initials on patients' transplanted livers has been found fit to continue practicing. Jesus Christ. While on the bottom of the page, they cover the admission by Wayne Couzens that he is guilty of the killing of Sarah Everard, and combine it with a story from the head of the Metropolitan Police, who admitted there was occasional baden in its ranks as she announced a female buddy system to improve safety after Sarah Everard's killing. Absolutely disgusting to combine a story about a serving Metropolitan Police officer admitting to murdering and raping a woman with a story going, oh, well, don't worry, the head of the Metropolitan Police says there's only a few bad apples. Vile. On pages 6 and 7, stay close to home, millions are told in areas hit by Indian strain. On page 9, we did not commit that big a crime, claim the Rochdale abusers. This is 2 people who've said this, but of course, you can expect the Times to make a big deal of that. Absolutely vile. He hasn't admitted to murder, so you should still be careful. Yes, it's true. He's admitted to the killing. To be accurate, if I said murder, that is incorrect. He's admitted to the killing. He's admitted responsibility for her killing, the Bailey was told yesterday, but no plea has been entered to a charge of murder. So yes, but he will plead guilty to some charge. The Independent Office for Police Conduct is carrying out 2 investigations related to the Everard case. First is into injuries sustained by Cousins while in police custody after his arrest. Second is into the probationary police constable who allegedly shared an inappropriate graphic joke on social media while on duty in Kent, manning the cordon supporting the search for Everard. On page 9, British gangs held in global FBI sting using phone spy app. We've covered that one. Quentin Letts is awful. Family in awe of woman who saved her twin from crocodile. That story's getting plenty of coverage. Troops join police and secret service in guarding world leaders in down in Cornwall. They've got 2 offshore patrol vessels, one of them HMS Tyne, just off the coast there as well. Tax on car makers could ensure electric vehicle target is hit, apparently. The Times slags off Meghan's book. Again, as you would expect, there's more attacks on Stonewall, quit LGBT scheme, say academics. Oxford University is being urged by its own academics to follow other establishments and leave Stonewall's diversity scheme. Who are these academics? Michael Biggs, a professor of sociology at Oxford, wrote to Louise Richardson, the Vice-Chancellor, warning that membership could put it in breach of free speech and equality law. Advice from Stonewall, seen by the Daily Telegraph, includes that staff and students should never challenge a person's choice of lavatory. I mean, they're obsessed with toilets, aren't they? These newspapers. Barrister has been suspended after saying Sussexes should call their baby Dopra. This was one of the people who was a reply guy to Julie Burchill. The Family Law Cafe said it considered its founders' comments offensive, unacceptable, and highly contradictory to the inclusive manner in which FLC has always and will continue to work with members of all communities and in managing challenges of matrimonial and family disputes. The Bar Council said that Tuck's comments were completely inappropriate and have no place in our society. Racism of any kind cannot be tolerated and cannot be justified as a joke. Good. Tara writes, elite British academics being transphobic. Shocking, isn't it? Yeah. Hotel Tycoon washes dishes as he just can't get the staff. Whatever. This is in Devon. Britain zooms to pay more then. Britain zooms to top of Europe's web addicts league. Apparently, we spent an average of 3 hours, 37 minutes online during 2020. Well, what possibly could be the context of a jump in our use of screens? Impossible to say. Soldiers face sack after positive cocaine tests. 6 soldiers from an army regiment that accidentally set fire to 12,000 acres of Kenyan bush could be dismissed from the service after testing positive for cocaine. Hundreds of soldiers were tested at a barracks in Lancashire weeks after their return from East Africa in April amid suspicion that some had been taking drugs. 6 British Army soldiers taking cocaine? I am terribly surprised. 6 soldiers from C Company and D Company, 2nd Battalion, the Mercian Regiment, 2 Mercia, tested positive for the Class A drug at the end of last month, sources said. Results from another 2 soldiers came back sub-positive, which meant that traces of drugs were found, but they did not automatically fail the compulsory test. C Company's been nicknamed Cocaine Company by soldiers in light of the findings, which were mocked on private WhatsApp groups with accompanying memes. An army source said the soldiers had not been on leave at the time of the drugs test, raising questions of whether they were taking cocaine while on duty. Never. Melting pot spots inspire elegant vision. This architecture review of the new Serpentine Pavilion, it's fine. James Canagasorium, who is a pollster, is sitting in for Daniel Finkelstein, and he writes, "There's nothing woolly-minded about centrism." There fucking is. Of course there is. Roger Boys, the most unfortunately named columnist in the Times stable, says Biden looks to harness NATO's rogue sultan. President Erdogan flouts the alliance's norms, but can still prove a useful ally against Russia. My enemy's enemy is my friend's thing. Slinker says, bet they didn't check the officers in that cocaine case. I would not be surprised. Matthew Paris likes Tom McTague's profile of Boris Johnson in The Atlantic. Of course, I wrote about that yesterday. That's been getting quite a lot of interest. And Tom McTague has just followed me on Twitter, which I'm sure is not in any way him just saying, I see you. But, everyone's welcome in my online jamboree. Anyway, here's that Boris Johnson analysis that I did. Of course, Matthew Paris wangs on about its brilliance while offering one line of mild criticism. Nirpal Dhaliwal, who is Liz Jones's ex-husband, right? Graft, not grievances, is secret of ethnic minority success. Or you can just marry a famous Daily Mail columnist. Alice Thompson says, helping llamas is misguided animal welfare. Downing Street is feeding the public's appetite for pets, but real concern for fellow creatures starts on the plate. Whatever. In the birthdays today, happy birthday to Michael J. Fox, who is 60. Rajesh Agrawal, Deputy Mayor of London for Business and Chairman and Chief Executive of Rational FX Currency Exchange until 2016. He's 44. Paul Beatty, author of The Sellout, the first American to win the Man Booker Prize, is 59. Matt Bellamy, the musician from Muse, is 43. Patricia Cornwell, the novelist, is 65. Hugh Dancy, the actor, is 46. Johnny Depp, no happy birthday to him, is 58. Nell Dunn, the novelist, known for Poor Cow, 1967, and Up the Junction, 1968, is 85. Sir Andrew Ed Edis, the Lord Justice of Appeal, is 64. Colin Grassi, the chairman of Scottish Rugby Union until 2020 and chief executive of Deutsche Bank until 2015, is 60. Giles Havergal, the theatre director of the Citizens Theatre Glasgow until 2003, from 1969, is 83. Richard Hodgson, stage designer of The Lion King, is 67. James Kelman, the incredible novelist, is 75. Sir Nicholas Lloyd, the chairman of BLJ Strategic Consultancy and the editor of the Daily Express until 1995, is 79. Jackie Mason, the comedian, Jesus, he's still alive, is 90. Michael Mates, the Conservative MP, is 87. Natalie Portman is 40. Professor Sir George Radder, the biochemist and chief executive of the Medical Research Council, pioneered the use of nuclear magnetic resonance in biological imaging, is 85. Sir David Richards, Lord Justice of Appeal, who retires today, is 70. Charles Saatchi, the advertising executive, art collector, and redacted, is 78. Will Sachs, the oarsman, Olympic gold medalist in 2016, is 32. Anushka Shankar, the sitarist, is 40. Aaron Sorkin, is 60. David Troughton, the actor from A Very Peculiar Practice, who also plays Tony Archer in The Archers, is 71. On this day in 1975, the House of Commons was broadcast live by radio for the first time. Tony Benn, then Industry Secretary, was the first minister to be questioned in Parliament live on air. And the last word today goes to Leon Trotsky from his Diary in Exile, published in 1959 but written in 1935. Old age is the most unexpected of all things that happen to a man. There we go. Yes, as you said on the Discords, Lincoln Meyer, fight between me and the Atlantic journalist. In the world news, Macron is slapped as election tour turns ugly. US strike force to break China's grip on trade. Yeah, right. Here's some elephants having a nap. Yukio, Trotsky has written a very silly diary and we won't be responding to it. Darling of Italian right wins over voters with attack on woke culture. This shit is going on everywhere. Pitt backs Me Too tale of Weinstein's scandal. Almost 4 years after two female reporters exposed Hollywood's dirtiest secret, the film industry is preparing to put the downfall of Harvey Weinstein on the big screen. Carrie Mulligan and Zoe Kazan have been lined up to play the journalist whose investigation of long-rumoured claims against the mogul convulsed the industry and led to a reckoning on sexual misconduct. Reckoning. I don't know if the reckoning has been all that much. At workplaces around the world, the producers include Brad Pitt, who early in his career once threatened to kill Weinstein after learning he had sexually harassed Gwyneth Paltrow, who was his girlfriend at the time. In the spirit of the Me Too movement that emerged from Megan Twomey and Jodie Cantor's Pulitzer Prize winning... No, Me Too... Jesus Christ. Me Too first emerged from people of colour. It did not first emerge... Oh, fuck me. I can't... Anyway, they're making that. Quantum's Leap creates powerhouse. UK computing startup to merge with Honeywell. A British startup working on quantum computing technologies to merge with part of American industrial conglomerate in a deal that companies say will create a global powerhouse. Cambridge Quantum Computing was founded 7 years ago by a former banker who once served as chairman of Accrington Stanley Football Club and will merge with the quantum computing business of Honeywell, a £160 billion company. Once again, our UK-made technology is being sold relatively cheap to the US. Slinker Meyer, Me Too has existed since the 90s. Exactly. Mark Gnosis, I saw that elephant pic. They were in almost exactly the same layout as the signets were at a local lake the other day. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, Tirana Burke, Erasure again. Exactly. Just, it's horrendous. ×2, Summer Shoe Guide. Are you Team Flat or Team Thong? Is that what we call... Have they always been called that, those shoes? The ones with the kind of strappy bit? I thought they were called thongs in, like, Australia, but... Yeah, anyway, that's the ×2. I'm not going through that today, but rest assured, it's a variety of flim-flam. David Smith writes, the G7's big tax agreement won't rescue the public finances. It will not, because it's not going to affect a lot of companies. Smokers turn to e-cigarettes and vapes, turning out good for British American tobacco. Boo to that. In the obituaries, Bob Swash, West End producer who took on the Lord Chamberlain over Hair and staged the first productions of Jesus Christ Superstar and Evita. He has died aged 91. He died of the frailty of old age. Mansour Ojay, the elusive Paris-born billionaire who, as director of the McLaren racing team, was considered a visionary force in Formula 1, has died. He was just 68. And Hamilton Macmillan, MI6 officer who was based in Vienna during the Cold War and was later outed in Rome by Howard Marks, aka Mr. Nice, has died. He was 74. Let's have a look at this obit. These are always interesting. Howard Macmillan, admired by many of his colleagues as one of the most innovative and effective British intelligence officers of his generation, was particularly at home during his 2 postings to Vienna. It helped that he was bilingual in German, having spent much of his childhood in Hamburg, where his father had been posted as a banker. He also, with his passion for wearing hats, rather looked the part. Some thought he resembled Orson Welles, Trilby-wearing star of the 1949 film The Third Man, which created a powerful image of post-war Vienna as a place of great international intrigue. Jointly occupied by victorious Second World War allies, but then swiftly a centre of Cold War tension, Vienna was a place through which all kinds of international actors passed. Hamilton described the city as an intelligence bazaar. When he was first based there in the 1970s, it was still dark and seedy and damaged from the war years, but it has also taken on broader significance. It was the headquarters of OPEC during global oil price crises, and important UN agencies were based there, including the International Atomic Energy Agency. From his vantage point, sometimes while enjoying favourite restaurants, including the Black Camel, Macmillan would observe the human traffic. He also appreciated the great tradition of chess playing in some of the city's venues. While at Oxford, he met his future wife, who survives him along with their 2 children. Their names had not been included here for security reasons. He went to Oxford, Balliol, and read chemistry, and he was talent spotted there by MI6. Surprise, surprise. Among his college friends was Howard Marks, later a notorious drug smuggler and subject of the film Mr. Nice. Yeah, he also wrote the book Mr. Nice. The only book ever read by Jeremy in Peep Show. Macmillan recruited Marks as an informant, which caused him much embarrassment when Marks, under increasing pressure from law enforcement agencies, blew Macmillan's cover by revealing that he was an MI6 officer. That happened when Macmillan was based in Rome. He was also fluent in Italian. He was later posted to Dhaka in Bangladesh. Among his experiences there were being refused entry to the Dhaka Club despite being a member. One morning he arrived dressed in local Bengali garb of kurta pajama, only to be told by the secretary that the rules required a jacket and tie. But Mr. Secretary, this is your national dress, he protested. But Mr. Macmillan, these are your rules, replied the secretary. Macmillan was also based in Cairo for a time where challenges included being summoned to meetings by an insomniac Egyptian government minister at 1 o'clock in the morning. His most influential appointment was as head of MI6's newly established counter-terrorism section, where he formed a close bond with Dwayne Claridge, the flamboyant head of the CIA's counter-terrorism center. Macmillan's imaginative strategy, supported by the CIA's resources, led to the neutralization of the main terrorist threat of the day, just as the threat was becoming focused on Britain. He built on that success by adapting techniques. Yeah. His last appointment before retirement in 1997 was to be in charge of European operations. During that time, he advanced MI6 integration in the Whitehall community by instituting a lunch club of undersecretaries from the main civil service department. In the last phase of his career, his robust style of management attracted criticism. So he was a bully then. Some referred to him as Marmite figure, but even those who did not like his management style still called him Mac with some affection. Jesus Christ. Lots of stuff to unpick in there, as there always is when they do obits of security service figures. And on the back page of the Sport, trial of COVID passport at Euro matches, Foden goes blonde like Gascoigne, Southgate calls out racist trolls, and box burner in petrol blunder. The South African World Cup winner Damien de Allende has revealed that that an exploded petrol canister was the cause of injuries to himself, former Springbok R.G. Sinman, and 2 other Munster players during a bizarre fire pit accident last weekend. So there you go, that is the Times. Give me your scores for that as we come to the Daily Mail. Thank you for my tea, it's delicious. Right. Daily Mail, here we go. Daily Mail, front page of the Daily Mail. Of course it goes with the Oxford story. Chronotherm goes minus 1949 for security services propaganda is the review of the Times. Slinkermeyer in with a double negative. Nice. And Mark Canosis says, Howard Marks, grass. Right. Front page of the Daily Mail. They're pushing to try and make sure that June 21st goes ahead, claiming they have a dossier to prove that Boris Johnson should do that. And their main story is, making a huge deal about some students taking down a picture. Outrage. Outrage as Oxford students vote to axe Queen. They took down one picture that was put up in 2013. Inside the paper, latex lilies is glam as Pam. It's their excuse to print a picture of Lily James with her boobs all hoiked up to play Pamela Anderson. Sausage War hots up as number 10 wraps EU's threat of Ulster ban. Curious, they put the sausages on the page opposite the Pamela Anderson stuff, isn't it? On page 5, they cover Sarah Everard gun cop admits kidnap and rape, the usual sensitive headline from the Daily Mail there. And on page 4, it's offensive and obnoxious, says Oxford Chancellor, but Magdalen President stands by her student. As well she should. If you're obsessed with free speech as these papers are, surely it shouldn't bother you at all if people who put a picture up choose to take that picture down again. Good cod, a plate of Harrods fish and chips will cost you £35. National average price for cod and chips is about £6.50. But there's a gourmet version going to be available at Harrods for £35. His Tom Kerridge's wallet-busting version of the dish includes market day fish, chips, curry sauce, tartar sauce, and peas pudding. But Harrods exists to trick tourists into spending more than they should. Hello, Dan Jones, 3142. Good to see you. Hey, Mark, enjoy your cheeky Nando's. Goodbye for now. And hello, Dan Jones, just back from the cheeky Nando's. Pages 6 and 7, don't lose your nerve. They do a whole spread trying to persuade Boris Johnson to continue with the June 21st unlocking. Professor David Patton, Professor of Industrial Economics, says number 10 is infected by scaremongering propaganda. On pages 10 and 11, 6 million told to stay outdoors. Smackaron is the headline they put on Emmanuel Macron getting a slap. Why did tour guide let twins swim in lagoon full of crocs? They do a double-page spread on Meghan's book with Belle Mooney saying the trouble with Meghan's book, it isn't for children, it's for Harry. Okay, just get a grip. Yeah, imagine writing infected by scaremongering propaganda in the Daily Mail. You're all right, Chronotherm. And at the bottom of pages 14 and 15, columnist Birchall sacked over Lilibet name jibe. Or you could put it this way, Julie Birchall sacked from the Daily Telegraph for being too racist for even the Daily Telegraph. Sarah Vine writes, damned for teenage sins that will never be forgotten. Well, I don't know, because Michael Gove seems to have got away with sins from his 20s. Sarah Vine has her own podcast now called Sarah Vine's Female Half Hour. I will listen to that show and do a special report for the show on it if there are contributions in the newspaper fund over the next week or so. She also covers electric scooters, slagging off Meghan's book, slagging off Keira Knightley, and slagging off Richard Branson. Henry Deeds is awful. Louise Minchin is leaving BBC Breakfast after 20 years. I presume she'll end up going to GB News, will she? Keir Starmer's poll ratings are super low. Botanical Banksy, stunning flooring displays that bloom as if by magic across London and can be plucked by grateful passers-by. It's all thanks to the Botanical Banksy. Who is this person? Lewis Miller, a 47-year-old florist dubbed Botanical Banksy in his native New York. Oh, Jesus. Chronotherm, female half hour. Yeah, female, F-E-M-A-I-L. Like woman's hour, but turfier and only half as long. Yeah, pretty much. So Christopher Mayer, the former ambassador to the United States, says Boris is right about special relationship. It's simply an excuse for the US to treat us like its poodle. When he was ambassador, he banned the use of the phrase special relationship at the embassy. David Blunkett says, writing some right-wing trash in the Daily Mail, that the potential for Colin Pitchfork to be released from prison is due to our permissive justice system. We do not have a permissive justice system. On pages 28 and 29, Stasi's most despicable torture. It was the East German secret police's most terrifying weapon, mind games that drove its own citizen mad. And as a new book reveals, the lessons for today's social media generation, whose every secret is laid bare online, couldn't be more stark. Yes, social media is the Stasi. No one has ever made that very, heavy-handed comparison before. On page 30, they go, after Magnificent 9, it's Perfect 10. Non-Nuplet's record last month, beaten already by Mum's 10 babies. Yeah, they actually managed to write it in a less grim way than the previous way. Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't have a justice system. We have a legal system, not a justice system. Yeah, I agree with you both on that. On page 31, duped and snared, British criminals among 800 held in FBI's high-tech sting. In the Money Mail, digital currencies like Bitcoin have exploded, with 1 in 5 UK adults investing. But as its price crashed by half, has the bubble already burst? Don't lose your shirt in the crypto casino. And they go for a really literal picture of a woman throwing some physical Bitcoins. On this day, June 9th, 2021, from the Daily Mail in 1982, a helicopter carrying the Queen Mother has had to make an emergency landing in Windsor yesterday after loss of power in an engine. She was totally unshaken. The helicopter was a Wessex, the same type as the one that crashed in the North Sea last year, killing all 13 on board. Queen Mother, who will be 82 in August, joked to photographers, the wretched little thing has broken down. June 9th, 1999, the Daily Mail wrote, The fall of Jonathan Aitken, the man once tipped as a future Prime Minister, was complete last night. He suffered the disgrace of becoming the first Cabinet Minister ever to be led from the dock of the Old Bailey to prison to serve time for perjury and perverting the course of justice. Last night he was in Britain's most secure prison, Belmarsh, where fellow inmates include Charlie Cray. He didn't serve very much of that sentence at all, as you would expect. Patricia Cornwall is 65. Jackie Mason is 90. Also born on this day, but in 1868, died in 1943. Jane Avril, the redhead French can-can dancer, became a muse to the artist Henri Deleuze-Lautrec, who produced numerous pictures of her at the Moulin Rouge, including one that they picture. They remained friends until his death, and he also painted her in more sober poses. Her jerky dancing style was compared to an orchid in a frenzy. Eric Hobsbawm was born on this day in 1917 and died in 2012. The Egyptian-born British Marxist academic was widely considered one of the greatest British historians of his age. Hobsbawm was sent to live in Berlin as a child and said there was nothing like growing up in Nazi Germany to bring on a premature political maturity. On June 9th in 1549, the Book of Common Prayer was adopted by the Church of England, and on this day in 2014, Rick Mayall, star of The Young Ones and many other things, including Blackadder, died age 56. Quote of the day: politics is the art of the possible. That is from Otto von Bismarck. And joke of the day. Why did the girl throw the clock out of the window? She wanted to see time fly. Yeah, imagine the Daily Mail mentioning Hobsbawm. I know, and when he was alive, they attacked him all the time. Farage's face, yeah, I recall that obit as well, but I don't remember where that was. Skipping through the Money Mail, it's all the usual scare stories for old people. On page 48, in the footsteps of killers, 10 p.m. is their television recommendation. Christopher Stevens in the TV review says 999 What's Your Emergency was a 2-star show, while Hospital was a 3-star show. Thank you, Slinger. I try to tell those jokes with all the effort they deserve. In the cartoons, Garfield is hanging out with Odie and Chloe and Co. Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about jobs. And in Fred Bassett has been digging holes and he's going to put some bones in them. His owner said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "He's stockpiling." Well done, Fred. In the straight to the point letters, Rod Bly writes, "There can be no better use of foreign aid than the gift of vaccines to poorer nations." It's a fair enough letter, actually. D.A. Hannigan says, "We should send our spare vaccines to Nepal. We owe so much to the brave Gurkhas." Okay. Diane Silver from Bournemouth says, "What lovely regal names Harry and Meghan have chosen for their daughter. They could have gone American and called her Loris Cindy. Ha 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 ha." Mary Noonan of Crowborough says, "There's only one Lilibet, and that is the Queen." Shut up. Sandra Parsons writes in often, "I can't wait to see a picture of the royal newborn's big toe." Alright, weird. John Florence writes, "The British Normandy Memorial is a powerful reminder to Europe's political leaders that despite Brexit, we should remember the past and work together." Ron Terry says, "Just give migrants free Eurostar tickets and save the cost of patrolling the channel." Paul Ruan says, "Priti Patel is acting like Queen Canute." You don't understand the story of King Canute, Paul. Ian Riley of Normanton says, "I spent my honeymoon at the Carbis Bay Hotel in 1971. Half board for 7 nights cost £31.70. I hear it's gone up a bit since." Yes, inflation is a thing. Mrs. T. Newman says, "I know it will give Cornwall a boost, but during a pandemic and with concerns over carbon footprints, why isn't the G7 on Zoom?" Oh my! Today's poem is terrible, so we're gonna read it. Here we go. Today's poem is called G7 Cornwall 2021. Strap in, folks. This is fucking awful. The top brass from all around the world are on their way down here with staff and burly bodyguards to rooms they've commandeered. A lot of locals have moved out and let their homes for rent. There's not a space left anywhere, not even for a tent. And even demonstrators have been moved out miles away. Their placard waving won't be seen by those at Carbis Bay. Those delegates with families will sunbathe undisturbed. The crowds can stamp their feet and shout, their voices won't be heard. The brewers and the fast food stands anticipate demand. They've stepped up manufacturing by working long and hard. With many thousands of the press, police and media teams, there'll be a need for sandwiches and pasties and ice creams. All this is joyous news for those who live on scraps and bits. The girls are lining up in droves to steal ice cream and chips. A headache for security, they use small camera drones, which seagulls love to dive upon for reasons still unknown. So strangely for this summit site, the worst headaches could come not from a terrorist plot, but from a seagull scrum. The locals and the regulars are used to gull forays. We hide our pasties and our chips and bats the birds away. Let's hope they don't break out the guns to shoot the seagulls down. It won't promote a sense of peace in this small seaside town. I hope they let them well alone and the gulls behave and live to fly another day above the Cornish waves." By the way, you know, the meter of that poem was all over the place. Taya writes, "Yep, someone's horny for bodyguards." Today's recipe is stir-fried chili beef wraps. I mean, Not hugely in need of a recipe for that, but there you go. They're still trying to sell you the cruise where you can meet William Roach, aka Ken Barlow, listen to Catherine Jenkins sing, and be screeched at by Lulu. Or you could go on a cruise to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, and on a full Arabia cruise. No, thank you. Jesus. Okay, I don't understand this. No coins today, but a handcrafted heirloom Santa Christmas ornament. Just checking the date. It's the 9th of June 2021, but you can get this handcrafted Thomas Kincaid Santa ornament for Santa ornaments for £13 each. £13.33 each. I don't know why. Santa Christmas ornaments. Yep. They're also trying to sell you a pack of 3 heavy-duty shelving bays. Yours for how much? £149. 8 bays and 8 really useful boxes. Yu-Gi-Oh! Exactly 6 months till Christmas or thereabouts. Fucking Thomas Kincaid. Fucking hell, they know their audience. They do, don't they? In the sport, shot in the arm, vaccine passport boosts Paris crowds and could help with Wimbledon. Right to Axe Robinson, but I'm feeling uneasy about zero tolerance, writes Nasser Hussein. Stockport Gaza, thank Gareth for second chance, writes Dominic King, their Northern football correspondent. Ian Ladyman, who is their football editor, says don't flog Harry. Gareth Southgate says playing for England is about inspiring and uniting, not just the result. That is an excerpt from the Excellent Players Tribune article he did. Don't bother reading it in the Mail when you can read it there. My best goal for England, 80,000 singing my name. That celebration, it was the best feeling, says Jamie Redknapp. Is the quote from Jamie Redknapp's interview with Gaza. And on the back page, Gaza, Paul Gascoigne talks England and the Euros and recreates that celebration with sports mails, Jamie Redknapp. And the main headline on the back page, cricket in the dock. Anderson forced to address lesbian jibe as fellow England stars Butler and Morgan are accused of mocking Indians. There you go, that's the Daily Mail. For me, it's a quintuple negative nice. Minus 69, 69, 69, 69, 69. I hope you have enjoyed today's show. Let me do the roll call while you give me your scores for the Daily Mail. I'm the Broken Bottle Boy. Follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy and check out the newsletter brokenbottleboy.substack.com. Remember that I am, before the 13th of June, trying to break the 400 subscriber mark. It's going to take 400 paid subscriber mark, sorry. It's about 2,300 in subscribers in general, trying to break that. So if you have got a spare $5 a month and want to support the newsletter, that would be great, although I appreciate people support me in other ways through the show and subscribing to the show, etc. Okay, so in the chat, 2020 is here. Arid Tracks, Aiton, Bad Motivator, Carbot 14XYZ, Chemical Oil, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Discord for small streamers, Dan Jones 3142, Discord for streamers, Yu-Gi-Oh, Farage's Face, Chronotherm, Lantern Rouge 68, Letty Baskers, good to see you, Peter Bensley, Red Tixie, the excellent Red Tixie, the equally excellent Slickermeyer, Surplus, Tom's Terrorites, bringing it always in the chat, V&K is here, good to see you, as is Virgo Pros, the Fishmeister General Yuan, and the ever excellent Zoe Brings Bacon. Whew! It's hot in here because I've got to keep the door closed. All the 69s from Slinkermeyer. Chronotherm says, can't believe the sport, which based around public schools and imperious clubs, has a racism problem. And Arid Tracks gives the Daily Mail minus $1 million. Yuan in with 4 fishes for it. Remember, of course, you can help support this show either through subscribing to the newsletter or chucking some coins on a one-off basis into the newspaper fund. brokenbottleboy.substack.com. And last link for the day, don't forget that we have the Discord. I share extra stuff there, and lots of the excellent regulars on this show are also in that Discord. So if you want to join, free to do so. There's the There's the Discord link. Thanks again, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. for another exciting round of the paper thing with me, Mick Wright. Until then, have a lovely afternoon. See me in the Discord or see me on Twitter. Bye-bye.